got a better launch though. Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on!
That was you again, wasn't it?
You got a better launch than me that time. I don't know about that one. We'll have to get an adult again to look at that, but I think that might have been you.
Is this deja vu? NCAM, who won that? Sam, you're just the best.
Insert Karate Kid music just there, and that'll be nice for me.
So then what exactly happened? Well, as you can see, it's very close on the line, but the slow motion action replay reveals that it was the BYD that crossed the line first ahead of the Tesla. However, both cars recorded a standing quarter mile time of 12.6 seconds.
However, it managed to turn things around.
In 2019, I saw some of their new products called the Tang and the Han, designed by German designers, world-class designers, and the first time you see, ooh, these are actually good-looking cars. There's potential here.
In 2022, the company stopped production of its ICE vehicles, focusing on building battery electric and plug-in hybrids.
The majority of their cars are in the mass market, so that helps with volume. And they've also not completely shifted into pure electric vehicle at once.
BYD is backed by Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway and considered entering the US market in 2008 when Buffett acquired 10% of the company.
Warren Buffett himself said, I'm betting on the man. I don't understand the technology. I'm not sure about the China market. Will EVs take off or not? But this guy is 1 in a 10 million. So he recognized something special in Wang Chongfu. And it's with that that he gave his blessing to an investment, about $250 million.
A lot of the reason why he invested was because of the battery business, more so than the vehicle business. And that has grown dramatically along with their vehicle sales.
BYD's stock is up over 1,400% since Buffett first invested. Berkshire Hathaway did pare down its stake in the company, selling more than 60% of its shares since last summer.
You bring Mark, he's curious why Mr. Munger prefers an investment in BYD to Tesla.
Well, that's easy. Tesla last year reduced its prices in China twice. BYD increased its prices. We're direct competitors. We're so much ahead of BYD. I mean, BYD is so much ahead of Tesla in China. It's like it's almost ridiculous. And if you look at BYD, which most people have never heard of, if you count all the manufacturing space they have in China to make cars, it would amount to a big percentage of all the land in Manhattan Island. And nobody ever heard of them a few years ago.
All right, let me jump to another question. This one comes from Michael Aseo, who says, this is in regards to some movement at Berkshire, some sales of Berkshire's stakeholdings. Did the sale of some BYD and Taiwan Semi shares have anything to do with the relations between the United States and China, or was it for purely economic reasons?
Well, BYD is selling about 50 times earnings. That is a very high price. On the other hand, they're likely to increase their auto sales by another 50% this year. So,
most of BYD's cars are simply a lot cheaper than Tesla's. In fact, it sells 10 popular models starting from less than Tesla's cheapest offering for the Model 3 sedan. And BYD sells a lot more of the cheaper vehicles in its lineup.
They have very cheap models starting from $10,000 US.
Their approach has been extremely different in the sense that Elon Musk believed that you had to sort of start from the high end with a sexy performance car to get people interested in electric cars and then work your way down the price spectrum. BYD went at it from the other end, where it was about cheap taxis and buses that needed a heck of a lot of batteries. and really sort of, drove down the prices of the batteries that they could put into passenger cars.
While the average price paid for a Tesla is about $45,000, the average BYD sells for roughly half that. That, of course, raises the question.
What does the turnaround look like? You say cutting prices. Clearly, they're facing more competition from Chinese EV makers, not just in the domestic Chinese market. So what do you do if you're Tesla?
I think you have to lay out the strategy. Okay, what are price cuts going to look like? When are the new models coming? What could software be as a percent of revenue? What's the AI roadmap? Right now, it's essentially playing darts blindfolded. You don't really have an adult in the room. The conference calls, as we've talked about here, have really been horror shows. So investors, they're hoping in terms of that, what's on the other side of this. Now, in terms of the growth, the opportunity, $30 billion in cash, they're in a phenomenal position from that perspective. But I'd say probably this is what I'd say in the last 5 years, probably the darkest period relative to what we're seeing in China. And this quarter, exclamation mark.
All right, but you talk about, the hope of investors. You still clearly have hope as well. So what do you base your hope on? You've been, the last 2 minutes here, you've been quite negative.
Mm-hmm. It's that we're 3-4% of all automobiles are EVs. Is that full self-driving autonomous? You could argue that could be $1 trillion worth of value from a software perspective. The China story, you've seen the price cuts start to stabilize. They had a good week of the last quarter. So there are some optimism, and I still believe you could be toward 2 million units for the year. But this quarter, there's just no way to sort of glass half full it. This is one where even whisper numbers call it 415K. 386, a disaster.
So is it supply or demand? Because we expected some production setbacks in the first quarter, didn't we?
I think supply would be dog ate the homework. Maybe call it 30K. You could explain that in a press release. But realistically, it's demand. And I think the problem here, Sarah, is that, you're either going to cut prices or ultimately, you're going to hold serve and then focus on what you could actually do, but hold margins and where volumes could go. The problem is that you can't just put one toe in the water. In other words, what's the strategy? How are you going to reverse?
And do you know